The Premier League is not ready to face a fit Chelsea, a Chelsea that doesn't have that many injuries, a Chelsea that did adapt to the, let's say, maturity levels that the Premier League demands, a Chelsea that did make some smart transfers during the summer. Now, before I start this video, I just want to touch on a comment by Enzo Fernandez. Enzo backs Pochettino. When I arrived at Chelsea, it was a mess. There were many players. Maurizio brought order and identity to the team. The work ethic is different. It changed everything and it's positive. The group is more serious and hardworking. That is definitely not a well-received comment by all the Enzo haters and especially all the Pochettino doubters. But here, yet again, the players that like to play for Pochettino, the players that play for Chelsea, that actually care about playing the game for the club, speak out and back the manager. Of course, they don't really decide whether or not he gets sacked. They don't really decide whether or not he's going to stay at the end of the season, but at least it adds a little bit more to the whole story that did get a bit heated in the last couple of weeks. We did talk a little bit about that in the past videos. If you missed that, it's going to be in the top right corner. But this video, I just want to show you how much this team has improved already year over year, despite this season not being the best one, far from it. You might call me crazy, which is fine, but do leave it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel before you call me a crazy MF in the comment section below. I'll show you the stats, I'll show you the data. So, in the 2022-2023 season, we scored 38 goals, 25 from open play, 8 set pieces, 3 penalties, 1 own goal and 1 on the counter. We had 12.7 shots per game, 77 yellow cards, 3 red cards, 58.8% possession and 85.8% pass accuracy. During that season, the total injuries, guess what? We were also number 1, Chelsea. 48 total injuries, Newcastle 39, Nottingham Forest 37, Liverpool 36, etc, etc, etc. So, all those clowns on social media that say that, oh, it's because of Pochettino's training, it's because of Pochettino that all of our players are injured. Well, what happened last year? Did Pochettino do some voodoo last year when we had, first Tuchel, then Potter, then Lampard? We had already the most injuries last season. So you cannot come here and say, oh, it's because of Pochettino, it's because of his outdated fitness methods, training methods, etc, etc. No, you cannot say that. We have been struggling with injuries for quite a while. And the numbers are showing that it's not because of Pochettino. Plus, look at United. Look at Newcastle this season. Look at Tottenham this season. Are they all being coached by Pochettino? Or is there something else happening? By the way, there is definitely something else happening because it is not normal how many players get injured in the last couple of seasons. It's absolutely crazy. Maybe that's what happens when you do a World Cup during the winter. But yeah, that's just my opinion. More stats here. Days and games missed with injuries for that Premier League season 2022-2023. 216 games missed for Chelsea, 1,836 days missed. So of course you might say, no surprise that we finished 12th. We didn't really play any good football. We didn't perform very well either week in, week out. Okay, makes sense. But then again, we're Chelsea, we have to do better. The numbers that I showed you before, 38 goals, that's laughable. Now this season, so far, with 2 games left, we are almost already at double that number. We scored already 73 goals, 46 from open play, 12 set pieces, 11 penalties, 1 own goal, 3 on the counter. We also have more shots per game at 14.4. A record yellow cards for this season, 101, with 3 red cards, more possession on average, 59.3%, and pass accuracy sits at 87.4%. So just looking at those numbers, we can already say that we are improving year over year, which of course would make sense with all the money that we spent on players. That's basically what you would want to see, right? But of course, money doesn't solve all of our issues, because if we look at the Premier League injury table for this season, again, new records here. Total injuries for Chelsea, 54, Newcastle, 38. So 309 games missed this season already versus 216 last season. So more games were missed this season by Chelsea players, but we are playing better. We are higher at the table. We are playing better. We're scoring more goals. We're also conceding quite a lot of goals, but that's definitely something we need to work on. But at least we're scoring more goals and we are performing a bit better, which will definitely let us into European competition next season. And I've showed you this already a couple of videos ago. This season, the number of players aged 23 or below that each Premier League club has played this season, this is by Dean CFC on X or Twitter, great follow. Chelsea, again, leading the way here. So not only are we doing better than last season, we're doing better with more injuries and with younger players. I mean, if you don't want to credit Pochettino, then I don't really know what he will have to do to get some credit here. Then, of course, we've talked about this. So games missed due to injury this season. You can clearly see some of the players which could be helpful to the squad were injured most of the season. I'm not talking about Fofana because I'm not really a big fan of his. I think we overspent on him and he's probably one of the reasons why we will be selling Chalobah in the summer. Huge mistake. And now showing you even more data that should cement Pochettino's position at Chelsea for next season, unless, of course, he steps down. But if you look at this here on the left, most successful attacking trios. Number 1, Haaland, Foden, Alvarez, 51 total goals. I believe now it's a bit more because they played, I think, yesterday. Number 2, Palmer, Jackson, Sterling, 40. Of course, Palmer taking most of that. But imagine what we can do next season, the next 2 seasons, when our players are even more experienced, when our players are used to playing with each other, when we'll add a couple of extra experienced players to the squad. Imagine the possibilities. And I mean, if you look at the last 23 games in the Premier League, we are here a top 4 team, despite all our injuries, despite the inexperience, despite all the drama in the media, etc., etc. We are a top 4 team. Of course, if you look at the difference between Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, and City, it's pretty clear that we are still far away from reaching those levels. But to say that we have not improved year over year is just a lie. I think our season has been not the greatest, to put it lightly, but you do have to look at the data, you do have to look at the circumstances, and the circumstances were not in our favor. Lots of injuries. Now that we had 3 wins in a row in the Premier League, I think only 1 loss in the last 13 games or so. Not too bad, right? All things considered. And so, what's next? What's next? I'll tell you what's next. Next up, we have to win our next 2 games, Brighton and Bournemouth, to make sure that we have a chance to reach the Europa League next season. Of course, it's out of our hands. We need Newcastle to drop points. Tottenham, I don't see them screwing it up, although I wish they would, but I don't see that happening. Manchester United are already behind us, so that's not a problem anymore, but we still need to win our 2 up-and-coming games. Then what happens is, of course, the decision of the board, the club, the sporting directors. They need to talk with Pochettino and his team, look at what happened throughout this season, the good and the bad, and then make their decision. I truly hope that Pochettino stays next season because I do think that we are improving by quite some margin season over season. It's not his fault that plenty of our players that we bought were already injured, had injuries problem. Hopefully in the summer we sell deadwood and we add actual quality experience to the team that will have a major impact next season. And then, like I said at the start of this video, the Premier League just is not ready to face a fit Chelsea team. That's just my thoughts. Of course, do share your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.